Let me ask you something. What do you think the NBA is? If you said a basketball league, you're wrong, or at least you're only seeing about 10% of the picture. The NBA is one of the most sophisticated wealth generation machines ever created. It operates like a hedge fund. It grows like a tech startup, and the game you watch on Tuesday night, that's just the marketing department doing its job. By the end of this video, you'll never watch an NBA game the same way again, because once you see the business behind the basketball, you can't unsee it. Let's get into it. Let's start with some numbers, because numbers don't lie. In 1979, the entire NBA was worth, combined, all teams, roughly $200 million. The league was struggling. Games were on tape delay, the finals weren't even broadcast live. Fast forward to today. The Golden State Warriors alone are worth over $7 billion. The New York Knicks, a team that hasn't won a championship since 1973, is valued at over $6 billion. The average NBA franchise is now worth somewhere around $4 billion. That's not sports money, that's private equity money. That's the kind of return that makes Wall Street pay attention. To put it in perspective, if you had bought an S&P 500 index fund in 1990 and held it until today, you'd have multiplied your money roughly 20 times. Impressive, right? If you had bought an NBA franchise in 1990, you'd have multiplied your money over 100 times. So the first question we need to answer is, how? How does a basketball league consistently outperform the stock market? The answer starts with something most people have never heard of, the NBA salary cap. Most fans think of the salary cap as a rule about how much teams can pay players, and technically, that's true. But that's like saying the iPhone is just a phone. It misses everything that actually matters. Here's what the salary cap really is. It's a profit protection mechanism for owners, disguised as a competitive balance tool. Here's how it works. Every year, the NBA calculates something called basketball-related income, or BRI. This is essentially the total revenue the league generates. TV deals, ticket sales, merchandise, licensing, everything. Players, under the collective bargaining agreement, get roughly 49 to 51% of that BRI. Owners keep the rest. The salary cap is then set based on that player's share. It's the ceiling that determines how much each team can spend on players. Now here's the genius part. As revenue grows, and it always grows, both sides benefit proportionally. Players make more money, but owners make more money too. And because the cap scales with revenue, owners never have to worry about player costs spiraling out of control the way they might in a normal business. It's a built-in margin protection system. Compare that to the NFL or Major League Baseball in their early days, leagues where owner costs could explode unpredictably. The NBA figured out how to tie expenses directly to income. That's not a sports rule. That's a CFO's dream. And here's the kicker. Even when a team loses, even when they finish last in the league, they still get a share of the central revenue pool, which brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. In almost every normal business, if your product doesn't sell, you lose money. Simple. In the NBA, even the worst team in the league makes money. Why? Revenue sharing. The NBA pools a significant portion of its national revenue, primarily from the massive TV and media deals, and distributes it equally among all 30 franchises. This means the Memphis Grizzlies get the same cut of the national TV deal as the Los Angeles Lakers. The Charlotte Hornets get the same media check as the Boston Celtics. Now, why would the Lakers agree to that? They generate far more attention, far more viewership than a small market team. Why share? Because they're not stupid. The Lakers don't want the Hornets to go bankrupt. They don't want small market teams to collapse. Because a league with 30 healthy franchises is worth exponentially more than a league with 10 dominant ones and 20 struggling ones. This is the hedge fund mentality applied to sports. You don't just optimize your own position, you protect the entire portfolio. Every franchise is an asset in a collective fund. If one asset collapses, it drags down the valuation of all the others. This is why Adam Silver and the owners care deeply about teams in markets like Oklahoma City and Memphis, not out of charity, but out of pure financial self-interest. A rising tide lifts all boats. And in the NBA, the boats are worth billions. Everything we've talked about so far, the franchise valuations, the salary cap, the revenue sharing, all of it is powered by one thing, the media deal. In 2024, the NBA finalized a new broadcast agreement worth approximately $76 billion over 11 years. That's with Amazon, NBC, and ESPN combined. $76 billion. Let that sit for a second. That works out to roughly $6.9 billion per year coming into the league just from broadcast rights, before a single ticket is sold, before a single jersey is bought, before a single sneaker deal is signed. This is the foundational asset of the NBA as a business, and it's why franchise values keep going up regardless of what happens on the court. Think about it from an owner's perspective. You buy a franchise, you know that every year your team will receive its share of a multi-billion-dollar media deal, guaranteed, regardless of performance. Your floor is already incredibly high before you even open the arena doors. Now add ticket revenue, merchandise, local broadcast deals, sponsorships, arena naming rights, parking, food, NBA League Pass subscriptions. The basketball game is almost an afterthought. It's the reason people tune in, it's the content. But the content is just the vehicle for something much larger. This is exactly how a hedge fund works. You build a structure where the base returns are protected, and then you layer additional revenue streams on top. Winning a championship? That's the bonus. That's the alpha. Nice to have, but not necessary to make the underlying investment work. Now here's where I want to shift gears. Because this isn't just about numbers. It's about mindset. And the NBA business model teaches us something profound about how to think about building anything: a business, a career, a brand. The first lesson: protect the floor before you chase the ceiling. Every smart financial decision the NBA made, the salary cap, revenue sharing, the collective media deal, was about protecting the downside first, making sure even the worst case scenario was still profitable. Most entrepreneurs do the opposite. They chase upside and ignore downside. The NBA said, let's make sure losing is still okay, then let's compete like crazy on top of that. The second lesson: your product is the content, not the business. The game of basketball is content. It's what keeps people engaged, emotionally invested, coming back. But the real business is the infrastructure around it: the deals, the rights, the data. If you're building a brand or a business, ask yourself, what's my content? And what's my actual business model? They're rarely the same thing. The third lesson: think portfolio, not individual asset. The NBA owners understood that the league was worth more than the sum of its parts. They invested in each other's success. They thought like portfolio managers, not like individual team owners. In business, this translates to: your ecosystem matters as much as your product. Who you partner with, who you lift up, what community you build around you. All of that affects your own valuation. So the next time you watch an NBA game, next time you see a player hit a game winner, next time you see a crowd go insane, next time you see the logo light up on a giant arena, remember what you're actually looking at. You're looking at the marketing department of a $76 billion media business. You're looking at a hedge fund that has perfected the art of making people care deeply about its quarterly earnings report. And honestly, it's one of the most impressive things ever built. The NBA didn't just change basketball, it rewrote the rules of what a sports league can be. And the lessons it teaches about protecting downside, about thinking in portfolios, about building systems instead of just winning games, those apply to every single person watching this video. If this opened your eyes to how sports business really works, subscribe, because next week we're going inside another league that does something even more interesting with money. I'll see you there.